Hey, it's Barb Pask back at you to paint again. Doing another 8x10, no surprise there, that seems to be my favorite size. I'm looking around through my photos. I have many photos trying to decide. I had considered doing another nocturne, and then I decided kind of keep it, I say simple, we never know. Sometimes the things that seem simple can turn very complicated. But this is a photo that I took recently in the park. I've been chasing white ducks around for a while now, trying to get a good photo. And I like that pretty well. I wanted two of them. If you check back in my videos, one time I did paint a single white duck. I wanted to show you, if you happen to me, like I have an iPad and an iPhone, so I only know about those, but just some ideas. Say you take a photo like this. If you go to edit, you have some options. Say you go to exposure, and you can change the exposure on the ducks, and that will sometimes change the shadow pattern, help you see the values a little better. This is where I shot it at right there, which isn't bad. I don't know that I want it brighter, maybe about in there. Now, a lot of other options, things that I'm not familiar with all of it. I should play with these things more. You can go down to saturation and pull that up and down. Sometimes that pulls some blues into them. And of course, you can always convert it to black and white to and it wouldn't be a bad thing even to paint it from black and white, and then you could, see your values then. See? And a lot of people do that. I mean, there's no mystery with these guys for what color we're going for. So I'm going to leave it colored for myself, and we'll get them sketched in. Get it back to where we were. I've cropped it for the approximate format of an 8x10. I'm going to ignore that in the background. We'll just suggest grass. I even kind of like the position of their little feet. They were, as soon as you show up, they think you're going to feed them, and they both come squawking and walk in my direction. First thing we'll do is, I think I will tone this with an orange color like I usually do. The reason being is I do have a lot of green, so we'll get a wash on it first before we start. Welcome to my channel if you're new. Again, my name is Barbara Pask, P-A-S-K, and I am an oil painter out of Ohio full-time, and I use water mixable oils. If you're not familiar with them, I love them. They work like any oils, and they're water cleanup, so they're a less toxic option. I say so many of the same things over and over, but they make mediums for them for different, to thin them for different reasons. But I just put a little water in them if I feel like I need to thin them a little bit. And I work with a limited palette, a warm and cool of each primary, and white. And I do have transparent red oxide and Indian yellow on my palette also. Paint a little bit of everything. Got a lot of videos on here, look around, and I'll put a description to my website. A link to my website in the description box if you want to check out my website. My plan here is to sketch the guys on, and then I'm probably and we'll wipe them out so I have a clean white surface to work into. This is not one of my usual panels, the ones that I gesso. These are some that I bought from Dick Blick that I'm trying out. I like linen very well. I haven't painted on any in a while. I have some around here still, but linen's a really nice surface to work on if you never have. Just feels really good. I think with the holiday weekend, if you're an artist, Raymar, R-A-Y-M-A-R, has a sale going. If you purchase a certain amount, they're offering free shipping. Raymar panels are fabulous, but they're not cheap. So I don't use them too often, but they're really, really nice. All right, let's get these guys sketched on here. I had some other ones too. You know, I don't know that I've chose the best photo. I had one too. Let me show you this one. It's pretty cute too, where they're looking at each other. This guy, I think it's his tail on our face, isn't it? He looks to be backwards. Pretty cute, isn't it? See, I've got a lot of options. Look at their feet in that one. That's part of the reason I haven't done them, I think. I just have a hard time choosing. I had made the decision to do the one I showed you. Let's stick with that one. We'll do a different one next time. All right, he ends about here. Like with anything, we don't want to run it too close to the edge. We want room if we frame it. Have plenty of room. Last night I went up, there's a park by me and I walk there every day, and last night I sat down on a bench a few minutes and a big crane came over and landed very near me and grabbed a fish right out of the water in front of me. I wish I'd gotten some video of that. Sometimes it helps too, instead of just curve, even though the head is curved, okay, to do straight lines, because then you're looking and looking and looking at your image. You see where this starts, and then you can go back, you know, and curve it. But sometimes it's better, consider that, you know, sometimes it can be better to kind of sketch it out with straighter lines. I may have him too big. I'm feeling like I do. Let me kind of look at where things are going to land. He's feeling a little large. He's kind of sideways, so he is larger than the other guy. Yeah, I got him kind of big. Let's reduce that head down a little bit. And I could have put a grid on this, a 9-square grid, and grid the photo. And if your drawing skills aren't real good, I would consider that. And even though, I mean, it's so important to learn to draw. I like the challenge of it, even if I could take the easy way out. A lot of times I don't, because again, I like the challenge. And I can see some of their feet, and then of course we'll be bringing grass up. Yeah, the one where they were looking at each other, which probably would be a cute one to do too, I think, where they're, you know, making a connection with each other. If you recall, if you've been watching me for a while, months ago, back in November, I think, I painted a dog online here, actually. The video's on here, cute little fluffy dog. And I said at the time I was sending it as a gift to some people I'd gotten to know online. I was sending it to Canada. And I shipped at the end of December and waited and waited and waited, never heard. And finally, post office checked with them, and they told me they had delivered it, and the people never saw it. We had no idea where it was, and you know, what can you do, right? Well, they got it. Somebody just last week, I think it was, she got in touch with me and said someone walked it into her store. I had sent it to a business. They have a business up there, and someone come walking in with it. I don't understand why it took them so long to find them. I mean, I'm sure I had the right address. The owner gave it to me, and their addresses, as you know, if you've mailed stuff, they're different than ours, but I copied and pasted it, and so I know I had the address correct. If he gave it to me correct, I had it correct. But they've got it, finally. I've just made my day. Really disappointing, you know. You create it and then you pay to ship it, and you know, and they don't get it. Just very, very disappointing. So they got it. Okay, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to wipe off back to the canvas. I could even do this. I could even do this with a paper towel or a Q-tip if I had some in here. Let's use the brush. I think that works better. I don't want to keep, even though this is just a sketch, I don't want to ever feel like I'm painting in the lines, so we want to keep the edges soft. Drove around again a couple nights ago to take more nighttime photos. Want to do some more nocturnes. I took a photo of, we drove up to a town north of here that's very charming, and my husband took me up and drove me around and took some photos. And first one I took was when we hit the edge of town. Of course I shot all of them out of the window, for better or worse. But took the town, looking down into the town with all the street lights and stuff in a row. It's a kind of interesting image. It's not real clear, which isn't, you know, a bad thing. And so I've been looking at it and kind of sketched it out, kind of considering, getting familiar with it, considering painting it. And it might be one I turn upside down to paint. You've seen me do that if you watch me a while. It's a really good thing to do if you're dealing with an image that's fairly complicated. This gives me another chance too to kind of redefine the shape of these, you know, clean up my drawing a little bit. Now, one thing I don't have is there's no real bright light hitting them. You know, I would prefer there were. I mean, now if I convert this to black and white, I can tell where my brightest, I mean, there are areas that are definitely brighter. Just not quite as much fun as an image where the sunlight's hitting them. Okay, what I think I'm going to do is just mix up some different values, different shades of grays and off-whites. You know, I could let you watch me. It's not very exciting. I mean, there's no wrong way to do this. It's just I want at least 3 values, and then I'm going to take just some white with some yellow too, and I'll tilt you over and show you what I've done here before we get going here. Here, let me bring you over and I'll show you what I've done. Hopefully I can get you back where you are if I do that. All right, hang on. Sorry, we're shadowing ourselves. This was the darker mixture that orange, I threw some blue in. I just kind of made a darker gray, pulled some of that into the white. This has a little less of it, and here there's just the yellow and the white. So we'll be playing around. I want a variety of colors in the shadow area, so you know, probably warms and cools. And all right, let's see if we can get you back where we had you. Not too much drama. How's that? All right, I'm going to try to stay back on my brush so I don't get too picky, and I don't ever want to hold a brush like this. I want to stay across the brush and stay back. And we're going to start with our darks. We'll start with the darkest part of him. And I'm probably just gonna, I think I'm just gonna probably work back and forth and paint them both at the same time. You know, there's not a lot of dark areas to them. A little bit under the chin on both of them. You know, and I'm still dark, but I warmed it up just a little bit. You know, we can do different warm and cool with the same value and make it more interesting. This is more of our mid-tone. And just see what works, you know. I just I've said it before, but I don't think a whole lot about it. Maybe I should. I'm kind of working instinctively, and we'll make changes as we go. I see little bits of darker areas here and there. I walk every day, but I haven't walked yet today. It is still hot. It's probably in the upper 80s yet. So I'm going to try to wait till it's almost dark. We've been having several foxes running around here lately in our yard. I think they were living under the shed next door. My husband saw a couple of them playing over there like puppies. But he's been seeing one of them every night out here walking up our driveway. They're really cute. Some people don't like them. My one neighbor doesn't like them, but I've seen videos of them where people domesticate them, and they're almost like dogs. you know, they make all over the people, and they're really a pretty animal. Yeah, I chose this because I thought it would be, I may eat my words, a simpler image to do than some, but boy, it doesn't work that way, does it always? Sometimes you think, I'll just sit down and do that. That's a simple thing. And you just never know what's going to be that way. On the rare occasion, if you're an artist, you know how it is. You'll sit down sometimes to paint something, and it's almost like it paints itself. It's a wonderful feeling. But that doesn't happen too often. I think I see his little tail back there. We'll kind of suggest it, but we'll be painting in the background, of course. I know I'm kind of focusing more on this one guy. I decided to do that. I'm going to mix up a little orange again, like the tone I started with, and take a little tiny bit of that in white. We'll see. I want to warm him up, and the warmer colors tend to come toward you, and you probably know that if you're an artist, and cooler colors recede away from you. I'm not sure how the feet will read. Well, you know, it may feel awkward, and we'll have to just kind of, we'll see. One's up in the air. We may end up just kind of pulling them down into the grass. We'll see how they read once we get that far along. All right, let's move over here to the other guy. Yeah, consider liking and subscribing if you haven't, and if you comment, tell me where you're from. I asked that last time. I'm always interested to know that. And on this guy, I can't really see much of his feet, which is fine. Kind of jumping around. I don't have his body masked in, obviously, but that's okay. Years ago, I entered a painting of 2 white ducks that I had done in the Cincinnati Women's Art Club show, and it got in and sold. Actually, if I sold it twice. I sold it that night in the show, and then, which I don't typically do, but 2 people wanted it, so I repainted it for another lady, so that was really nice. Tricky thing, I'm not one, I don't paint the same image twice very often. I just don't enjoy it as much. But, you know, I'm not going to pass up an opportunity when I know it's sold. But it's tricky to copy it exactly. So, and I had to get it I had to satisfy her and get it pretty much the same. She was happy with it, so. I will be cleaning up the shape of this head as we paint that background in. If you wanted to be really, really loose and paint these guys, you know, you could probably go at them with a palette knife. I am getting some heavier paint on here and may even do more later. This panel absorbs the paint more than the other ones. As you can tell, I'm kind of suggesting some light on them here and there with the yellow and the white, but we may have to come back and do a lot more than that. This foot needs to be over there a little more. I'm going to I'm going to put some green in here even, because underneath them they would be picking up some green from the grass. So let's mix up a green for the background. You know, we have some options here. We could suggest some trees going into the grass. Might be better. If we do all grass, then we're going to want to cool it off back here and make it more yellow up here. Make a little room here on my palette for mix up some green. Sorry, noisy here. Digging for something. I think I showed you in the last video. I had purchased a bunch of these. They're called gesso brushes. These little, they're probably an inch, from Dick Blick. I saw a guy, Craig Nelson, using them very successfully for landscape. So, and he, you know, was painting pretty loose with them, which I like. Okay, I'm going to mix up some different greens. I have to get more paint out here even. I think I may try to suggest some, it really doesn't matter what people think they're looking at really, but I may try to suggest some trees in the background. We'll see. This is the kind of thing, you know, when I don't have all the information, it's sometimes I get myself in trouble. And sometimes you get nice things happen too that you don't expect. So we're going to try this little brush. May not work everywhere around their heads and stuff. We may have to get something a little more precise. You know, and I could even bring it down further. See, I'm kind of winging it here because we don't have it in the reference. You know, I could even suggest it down a little further and throw some sky color into there if I wanted. You know, like I said, we're just kind of making this up. You know, and down here under these guys, we're going to want shadows. I'm going to have to get more paint out. Get some more yellow and some blue out. Before I go any further, I'm going to work this color in and around the ducks, try to define the shape of them a little bit better. My brushes are Rosemary and Company. I don't know if I said that. At least most of them are. They're from the UK. So, all right, now I'm going to kind of look at the shape of these guys and try to cut into them without getting too hard edged. And if I do, I can always pull them back out or muss up the edges. Or see, that's hard there, so we'll soften that up. Yeah, the important thing here is the ducks, and the background could be as abstract as we choose to have it, you know. And again, we'll think we might cut some sky into here. I don't know. I'm just getting some green on there for now. Okay, let's look at the size, shape of his head. Of course, they don't have any eyes yet. I'm probably going to want to come muss them up. Whoa, noisy, huh? Try to keep my hand on that. Sorry about that. I tape these panels on here, and it works pretty good. I roll rows of packing tape behind the panel. Sometimes they give up and fall off, but it usually works pretty good. said I made a decision on this little foot yet. It's up in the air like that. Might be cute, huh? Let's see where that leg is. We might even want to get our rubber knife out. I don't know if you've seen me use that thing or not, and work on some of this. I'm wondering, you know, how it would look. Maybe suggest some sky in here. You know, who's to say what we're seeing behind them? If you've never seen me use this, this is a Catalyst by Princeton. It is basically like a rubber palette knife. They sell them in different widths, and I have fun with it. I've got a great big one I've done larger paintings with, and this is my favorite right here, though, of the three. Okay, we're going to try this. If we don't like it, we'll wipe it out. You know. Sorry, got paint on my... Come back, guys. Nope. There it is. I had a couple photos that were very similar. I could tell the difference by the foot position. You know, we'll see what this looks like. I don't know. Suggest some sky and... Usually I don't make stuff up. I like to have all the information, but I obviously am not going to put in the background that I have. I don't, you know, I got people walking back there. All right. On that, don't I? It just jumps all over. We're going to come back on the ducks in a bit here. You know, and you could suggest tree trunks back there if you wanted. You know, you could suggest water back there if you don't have it and you wanted it in your image. I like to use this, and you can blend right on the canvas with it, and you can make vertical strokes like that and suggest grass. Let's go back to our ducks now. We're going to leave the green alone for a little while. I don't clean up my brushes a lot, which I don't think is a problem because you kind of intermix colors, which I don't mind. Let's think about some eyes on these guys. There's just a black dot. I'm wondering if I should get a smaller brush out. I don't want to be really picky, precise, but I also don't want them too large. So we'll get a smaller brush out. And the darkest dark I can get with this palette is ultramarine blue and transparent red oxide. All right, let's look very carefully where they are here. And again, they don't have to be perfectly round. Sometimes they read better if they're not. Placement's the big thing. All right. And you're not seeing the other one on the other side. Get my smaller brush out and look at some things. Kind of cleaning up the shape of the ducks now. You can kind of see a little cheek over there. As you can see, I think you can tell I'm get some heavier paint on there. And he's kind of got some light catching him around there too. And on his tail. I'm trying to decide. This feels a little large to me. Might have to adjust that. Go over here to this guy. If you could get them to pose to you, pose for you, things would be perfect. But I like, them with their necks up, and it's really tricky to get them both like you want them. I'll tell you. Yeah, I feel like that's out a little bit far. Feels a little awkward. That's the center of his breast right there. You know, just have fun with them. Get some heavy paint on there and see a little bit of a nostril there. This guy too. higher. How are we doing on time? Been about an hour. One of these times I'm going to learn how to edit. Need to take a class, don't I? You know, you could take a palette knife if you wanted and really lay it on here. I mean, okay, I'm looking at this dark shape underneath and seeing how it looks. Again, it looks, in my photo, it looks, I do see the kind of crimson and I do see green in there. Now, let's see, do I think I have them? I don't think they feel enough like there's a shadow under them, so let's see if we can darken that up. That would be under his foot. going back into that gray mixture that we started with, working on this shadow area a little bit more. Again, we did not have a good reference for the background, so I may be going over that again. I'm mixing up a little bit more orange here and throwing a little white in it. Ducks aren't bad. The only thing, like I say, I may do is I may work on that background some. Figure out, I feel like if those are trees and that's the skyline, they need to be either lighter or darker, and I'm not sure at this point. I like that some of my tone is showing through, and we've suggested grass there in the front. All right, I'll get up and show it to you. And you can find me on Facebook, Barbara Pask Fine Art. Usually when I post the link to this, then I post the finished painting, and you can get a look at it to see if I did something else to it. I'm on Instagram, kind of. I don't do a lot with that. I said I don't want hard edges on them. I'm trying to keep them perfect. All right, I will quit picking at it. I'll show it to you. All right, there it is. Again, not sure the background. I may clean up the tree line in the sky again. The ducks are pretty painterly. See, I laid some heavy stuff on for their beaks. One guy's got his foot in the air. I'll show you the image here again. Let me open it up. See, I didn't really have anything to work with, just grass, so yeah, they're kind of fun. Once it dries some, I can even go back and kick up the highlights on them, and so I'll probably work on it a bit more. But again, thank you for joining me, and like and subscribe, and if you hit the notification bell, they'll let you know then when I load a new video up. All right, thank you again. You have a nice evening.